welcome to episode 14, I'm going to say, of Newysports TV for the 2017 season. That really says it all. It feels a little bit weird to be back here in front of this camera doing a normal weekly episode. As you know, last year we had the weekly episodes, but this year we've been to countless clubs now and we've just done heaps of bonus things, and it's going to keep going. We've got some big things planned for this season. I definitely want to get around to see some of the Zone League clubs throughout the season. That's one of the plans. Obviously probably won't catch many games being focused on the new FM competition, but I at least want to get to some Zone League clubs and meet some people and actually learn a little bit about certain clubs. We'll see what happens on Saturday out at West Lakes. I might actually have a chat with one or two people I know out there. Anyway, let's get straight into this. Today's episode being filmed during the day. That's a little bit different. I'm used to filming at like 1 in the morning or something. So this is happening, four days after the first game I'm going to talk about. So it's a little bit difficult. But anyway, what's going to happen today is quite simple. We're not going to be going on and on and on. I've already gone on a little bit too much. I've got a stopwatch here. I've got everything I need to talk about. I've got how long I need to talk about it. So let's get straight into it. New Lambton versus Wallsend FC under-19s game the other night is our first topic. And this game was actually a very decent game for a pre-season fixture. New Lambton 19's a team I've been keen to see play, and obviously I saw them again on the weekend, but we're talking about Thursday night at the moment. Very, very good. Very good performance against Wallsend. Wallsend's a very good team too, and it's good to see they've sort of looked at fixing their defensive issues. Losing Darcy Hall and Jackson Manning to 23s is an issue, but Jai Hancock and in the defensive line. I'm not sure who else was the other centre back off the top of my head, but they did all right. They actually did pretty good. New Lambton though, very, very decent performance. I thought they relied a little bit too much on the long ball and whatnot, but they seemed to correct that on the weekend. Maurice Bocelli, definitely one to watch, and we'll talk about him during the weekend portion of what we're going to be going through all the games. Luke Homer on the left wing as well was connecting pretty well. That's off the top of my head. I haven't even looked at the game review trying to tell you who scored goals, but if you need to know who scored goals, just go back and look at the report on the game. Seb Lewis playing for Wallsend now. That's a good pickup for them, and I think it's a team, Wallsend 19s, that I'm really keen to see play this year. Be watching them again this Thursday against Kahibah. Two teams that at this moment, New Lambton and Wallsend, I'd be tipping to push for top 4 in the under-19s competition, which is going to be a very strong competition this season. Rightio, we move on to the under-23s. Wallsend going down to New Lambton, 3-1 off the top of my head was the scoreline to New Lambton. Steve Shute put in a big performance the other night, and it was a little bit difficult to watch the game under lights. So the lighting, I was trying to take photos, so poor lighting, well, not poor lighting, but low lighting, taking photos. You don't see much of the game, do you? But I did see some good goals and a decent performance from Wallsend 23s, which again they're going to be relying a lot on youth. Darcy Hall scored a goal which was kind of random. That doesn't happen very often. He pushed forward a bit, which also doesn't happen very often, but Mal Hinchcliffe come in, which was, I think, a smart move. I don't know if Big Mal, as he's known, is going to be playing majority 23s or first. I imagine first, but if he does happen to play 23s, he can bring that experienced head and sit in alongside the likes of Manning and Hall in the back line, and a lot of young players in this Wallsend 23s team, and it's something that across the board Wallsend are going for. And we'll quickly talk about New Lambton though. For under 23s, Nick Pepper playing, which was sort of weird. I think he's more of a first grader, but I guess trying to get some game time, I don't know. But Steve Shute was man of the match, definitely quality player to watch, and New Lambton would win it against a pretty lacklustre second half performance, I guess, from Wallsend FC. New Lambton look a quality team in the 23s. We'll be talking about their game against Kahibah momentarily. On to Wallsend under 23s. I'm pretty sure that's the next thing I've got here to talk about, and it is their new setup, I guess. It's going to be youth orientated. I don't like the words free window. I could probably do a big half-hour video about those three words, because quite frankly I'm a bit sick of hearing that term. Obviously there's no promotion, but I'm one of those people that believe you've got to go for it. You know, if it's undervaluing the competition, and I understand why it's being done, and most importantly of all, this decision to not have promotion for 3 years has effectively crapped on New FM Northern League 1. Crapped is probably a bit of a, not really a technical word. It's undersold the competition. It's lowered the competition's prestige to me and to some clubs. Obviously some clubs will be going for it. Kahibah, Belswans, you know, let's not ignore the obvious. Cooks Hill, those clubs, you know, that just doesn't happen. That they're actually going to win things. That's what they're aiming for. Whereas other clubs, Wallsend, Cessnock, it's all about the 3-year window. It's all about building the future. So I get why it happens, but I do think it makes the competition a little bit hard to I don't know, not hard to watch, but it just undervalues it a little bit. New Lambton's a team that, you know, Andrew Packer himself said, no, you've got, you know, you do have to look at the future, but you've got to go for it while you're there. So I think you'll see a few teams not going for it full throttle, and a few teams that will. Wallsend's one of those that won't, and you know, they've won 2 championships in a row. They don't need to win another, but obviously winning those titles brings a feeling to the club that they haven't felt in 5 decades or so. But for Wallsend, the important thing is they've got the youth that can come up there and definitely push. And I reckon they'll be mid-table. I don't think they'll fall away. If they've got some good young players there at Wallsend. Other clubs do not have the same quality of young players that Wallsend have. So that does make the whole 3-year window thing a little bit more bearable. We'll talk now. I'll restart my clock. We'll talk about Kahibah and Cessnock on a Friday night. A bit of a weird night. You know, both teams. Kahibah fielding the 23s in the second half. I don't think it's really anything about Kahibah. This whole night to me was about Cessnock City. Kahibah's first hit outs not great, and again on the weekend we'll be talking about that again, not great. I think Kahibah, and I will keep saying this, I think they've left it a little bit later than what they would have preferred. Obviously the Foster game getting called off didn't help, but Kahibah just, they need some game time. All these new players, you know, there's 4 or 5 new players in the first team setup, so they definitely need to get some game time and sort of sort out what they want to do on the field. Cessnock, talking about new players, you know, there's probably 3 players, maybe 4 I recognise from last year's 23s and first grade squads, especially first grade. This was a quality game for them, absolute quality. Lino Gaddy, and you know, I'm not trying to sound angry about it, or, you know, I'm not saying it's a negative, but he wouldn't shut up on the sideline, and that's a good thing because he was controlling the team. He was saying where they need to be, what they need to do, what they're doing well. It was just everything was being analysed. It was typical of Andre Gumprecht, but this is coming from Lino. So I had my first chance to meet Lino, and he comes off as a very just very focused and very, well-drilled, keen football mind, one of those sort of people. No BS, I'll say that about Lino. There's going to be I think the culture there is going to change, and that's what we're talking about right now, is the direction at Cessnock City Hornets. Lino didn't do an interview the other night. He's actually coming over here to this very room, so I'm probably going to clean it up a little bit, and definitely put the Cessnock scarf back up. It's currently in the car because I was gonna wear it for those interviews the other night, but I forgot to. So Lino, he's coming over, and we're going to have a chat, and I think it's going to be a pretty good interview. I think it's going to be a long one, and I think he's just got a hell of a lot to offer. Just from the short time I've spoken to him in person, on the phone, he is Cessnock City through and through. That's what his job is. He said himself, his job is to take that club to NPL 1 in 3 years' time. I don't know if they can do it that quickly, but the bar's been set. That performance the other night, I've seen Cessnock, I don't think I saw them win a game last year in the games I went to. They did win games. They beat Belswans, they beat Wallsend, but the culture there needed a shake-up, especially in the lower grades. They were pretty ordinary in the lower grades. I don't know if they will be better. 23s and 19s should be good. 17s and 15s I have worries, but across the board, the youth academy is coming in. The future's bright at Cessnock City Hornets. The ground's getting a little bit of a makeover, some fresh coats of paint and all that sort of good stuff. The new kits looked fantastic. And most importantly, I got there and the whole team was there, and they were warming up before Kahibah. They're there in their kits. Kahibah is still wearing just anything, and then they eventually changed into the Kahibah strip about 5 minutes before kickoff. I think Cessnock just looked the more professional outfit. They looked well drilled. Lino Gaddy comes off as a very serious character, but one that, quite frankly, they needed. And there's clubs around in New FM that need a shake-up like that, clubs that are having a shake-up as we speak, and Cessnock's one of those clubs. I'm not sure if they'll make top 4, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but I think the respect factor for Cessnock football is going to slowly come back, and maybe a bit of the culture there, the infamous Cessnock culture. I mean, you can't rid of it. You can't just. The fans are still going to be wild. The fans, it's Cessnock after all, and it's the same at Westy. These are passionate sporting places, and you can't get rid of that. But on the field and off the field, the training, all that, I think it's going to improve, and I'm looking forward to chatting with Lino later in the week and just seeing what he has in mind for Cessnock Hornets over the next few years. We'll move on to West Wallsend and Cookshill. Under 15s, I'm not going to talk about it too long, but Westy did pick up a win, or it might have been a draw. I don't even know. You'd think I would, but I don't. The under 15s competition won't be featured that much. I mean, we'll be trying to get scores and whatnot, but it's a separate day, and while it's a separate day, we're not going to be at the games. Westy won 3-1. Cookshill had a few out. I noticed that they only had 11 players. That doesn't help. I think this was it might have been the 17s that only had it was this team that had 11. So look, Westy in the under 15s, I think they're one of the title favourites. Some handy players, but again a competition that we're not going to be talking about too much. Goals to Ethan Wright, Tom Maddock and Blake Punton. Martin Wilson got the goal for Cookshill. We'll go on to the 17s. West Wallsend, also this game was filmed, so I better slow down a little bit. West Wallsend 4 defeating Cookshill United 1. This game just had everything. I think this was one of the best games I've seen all pre-season in terms of just pure drama and goal scoring and all that sort of good stuff. Cookshill looked good early on. They had a great team last year in the 17s and the year before. I didn't know, but apparently a good chunk of the team were out on the weekend, so whilst it wasn't a great performance, I think you'll see more from Bruce O'Donnell's team than what they gave on the weekend when they had their full complement. Under 19s goalkeeper Eamon Doyle had to play a right back. I'm not even sure if he's still eligible for that competition, but anyway, he filled in. And yeah, this happened. As you can see, the goalkeeper scored a goal, and it was quite a good goal, and you don't see that very often, do you? So yeah, Eamon Doyle getting the opening goal there. Westy would soon earn a penalty. Lachlan Coombs weaved his way into the penalty box, and as you can see here, he was quite frankly hacked by Sam Marr, and Marr injured himself in the process. You know, I don't like seeing players get injured, but when it's on the back end of giving away a foul or a penalty, you tend to think maybe if they don't slide in or... Anyway, so yeah, it wasn't a good tackle, and Marr ended up injured. So, and the score ended up 1-1, Coombs slotting home the penalty. Westy in full control during the majority of the second half, and this is where they just ran away with the game in the end. An own goal was scored off the back of a Jack Blomfield corner kick. Dangerous corner put into the net by either Nick Collins or Michael Dalton. The camera angle, as you can see, wasn't evident which Cookshill player scored the goal. Third Westy goal came in the final quarter of the game. Kai Drayton got the assist. Sam Wyburn pretty much a tap-in. Drayton doing well there on the assist. Not to be outdone for the earlier strike, Jared Crawford wound back the clock to Gardens last year in that infamous Wallsend derby in the under-17s. He scored an early contender for goal of the year. When he scores goals, they tend to be pretty decent finishes, and that's what it was. 4-1 in the end, West Wallsend continuing their good pre-season form. In the under-19s, West Wallsend 3, drawing Cookshill United 3, again another high-quality game. Been waiting to see Cookshill for a few weeks now. Didn't get to watch them at Beresfield, obviously that game got canned, but this was the first chance. Seeing them in 2017, Jaden Wiggins back at Cookshill as well, thought I'd mention that. But again, this side, Nick Fakes, Dylan McGarrigle, another new addition that I can't remember, Chad McCarter it was. So there's a few there that have all come from NPL clubs, whether it be Adamstown, Charlestown or Lambton, I believe, respectively for those three. It's boosting Michael Best's side big time. Westy took the lead from the penalty spot, Josh Knight scoring. He'd pop up again later too. And then Nick Fakes hit a threatening free kick just before the half-time break, but Cookshill were down at the break. After the break, Jared Hayter would double the advantage for West Wallsend to make it 2-0, but then Ty Cousins would come on and then the game would change. Ty Cousins, I can't see him playing too much 19s. I think he'll be more 23s, fringe first grade at Cookshill, but he's still eligible for 19s, so fair enough. I think he might even be still eligible for 17s, I don't even know, but nonetheless, Ty Cousins would score a tap-in to make it 2-1 after missing a good chance, and then Cookshill got a penalty. It got put in by Dimitri Patson, and then Ty Cousins put them in front, scoring another goal. His impact after he come on off the bench was just significant. Campbell Guest got injured, not sure how he's pulled up after that injury. A high quality team goal for Ty Cousins' second goal. Great work from the Cookers here. But then they sort of threw it away a little bit. Jaden Wiggins hit the bar, missed a chance to probably seal the game, and then Cale Preston got on the end of the corner to make it 3-3. And this corner, I don't have any video, the game wasn't filmed, but I was watching it through my camera lens trying to get some photos, and I was watching Bailey Graham and Jared Hayter just push and shove each other, and it just seemed like Cookshill, as the game went on, as the time ticked away, they just got more and more distracted with playing a bit of a victim's mentality against West Wallsend's physicality. Cooks Hill, I really thought they were playing a soft style, and that's going to piss them off. That's probably going to fire them up, and that's probably what I want, because I don't think teams should be doing that. They shouldn't have been, and you know, obviously they were getting fouled, but the way they were carrying on was just a little bit much. But to their credit, it worked, because it pissed West Wallsend off, and next thing you know, Josh Knight got sent off for throwing a ball at somebody. So I guess Cooks Hill won that part of the battle, but they didn't win the war because it was free. And I feel like they should let their footballing do the talking. I don't know, I might be going a little bit too harsh, but I think that's got to be mentioned. For me, you know, just complaining about fouls and whinging to the referee, it's just not needed, not in this competition. We'll see how they go in their next trial, and we'll see how they go when we feature them in round 2 against Belmont Swansea, or West Wallsend actually. Or is it Belmont Swansea? No, it is. It's West Wallsend in round 2. So that'll be Josh Knight making a return to the field. That's going to be interesting, actually, that game. So there you go. We'll talk now about first grade. No under 23s. The less said about that, the better. Cooks Hill pretty annoyed that the 23s got called off, but nonetheless, first grade made up for it. I forgot all about this, and then I just looked at the scoreline. I might need more than my 3-minute allotted time to talk about this. West Wallsend 0, Cooks Hill United 7. Now Westy, let's be real, they had multiple players out, but again, you've got to be better than this. I think your 23s should be able to come in and do a little bit more of a better job than what they did. But with Big Dog out, the Cox brothers were out, other players were out, players out all over the park. That does happen, but nonetheless, getting absolutely smashed 7-0 is not going to help any sort of confidence. And I'm not going to go through this game because it's just paragraphs of information, goal after goal after goal. Lee Ashton got 3, Nick Russell got 2, Cal Gallagher and Emerson Augie got the others. Ty Cousins again coming off the bench, getting 2 assists. He might have got another, I don't even know. He definitely got the last 2, and he had a very good day, Ty Cousins. But we'll talk firstly about West Wallsend, who there seemed to be a rumour they were in unrest or something like that. I don't know where that came from or what that is, but you know, I'm definitely not hitting alarm bells or whatever, but I think they need their full complement. With their full complement, they would have had a better result, but this game, 7-0, should have ended probably 12, 13, 14-0. That's not an understatement. That's cold, hard facts. Cooks Hill missed chances, and they took the foot off the pedal in the second half. 4-0 at half-time at home. I don't care if it's your reserves or whatever filling in. It's just not good enough. It is only a trial. People will be saying that, but I don't think Westy will be happy with how Saturday went. But it is only a trial, so again, they can definitely turn things around, and I think they will. I hope they will. But again, this game should have been more. It should have been double digits, no doubt. The worst part of it for me, I can handle the flogging. I can handle that. We'll be talking about what happened to Belswans, who also had a few out. It does happen in pre-season if you're missing players. But the way that they were getting physical and just trying to, I don't know, just one-up Cooks Hill with the fouls, and it was getting a little bit heated at times, and I think that's really what West Wallsend need to fix this year, is their discipline, and if they're doing that in pre-season, it's not a good sign. So whether the bar will be set, you know, I'm looking at what Lino Gaddy's done at Cessnock, and I don't think he'll cop that, and Gary Rowe shouldn't be having to cop that from players that should know better than to just get yellow carded in a trial match. Nonetheless, Westy will be in action against not West Lakes. Toronto, they're playing someone this week, I think. And then they've got the Heritage Cup as well. So chances there to redeem themselves. And I think they will. I don't want people hitting the panic button. I don't think you should be. I do have a little bit of worry about how they'll go this year because it's a high quality competition, and they just haven't seemed to make as many changes to their squad as others, and we'll see. Discipline's got to be the key to West Wallsend's success. Let's change to a positive. Cooks Hill United. This was like nothing I'd ever seen from the Cooks Hill side over the last couple of years. This team is, I thought beforehand, a top 4 quality team. I'll change that to top 2 quality team, potentially championship quality team. This is one of the teams to watch out for in first grade this season. There's no doubt. And I know it's only one result, but this was an absolute hammering. 7-0. You can't go wrong with that. And this side, out with the old, in with the new, and that's been a problem at Cooks Hill. We'll talk about that in a second, but this side just got the job done, and I think that they're going to be very, very dangerous this season. And they've got Toronto and West Wallsend in the first 2 rounds, so they could potentially send messages of significant proportions to the rest of the competition. Toronto's going to have to be good to beat Cooks Hill in round 1 if Cooks Hill play like they did. And again, they took the foot off the pedal in the second half. They had players out. They had Hack and Canley out. They had Daniel Johnson out. These guys are, former first grade NPL players, so they come back in and perhaps the team's even better. So I'm happy for that because it has to work this year at Cooks Hill. They can't just keep rotating players and having a different coach every season. It just can't keep happening. So for Cooks Hill, I think this is their most important season in that club's history. They've gone all out. They've brought in some big names, and they're gunning for some silverware in 2017 in their 20th season. And that was some performance from Cooks Hill on the weekend. That's all I can pretty much say. I can't really put many more words to it. Quite convincing win. So we move on to talking about Sunday's games. New Lambton and Kahibah in the under-15s, probably the best under-15s game I've seen this year. And again, I probably won't see any more after next week because I think even the finals are on different days. So senior match day takes obvious preferences. There could be catch-up games, I don't know. But anyway, I'll be keeping an eye on this competition, keeping an eye on the results. New Lambton and Kahibah, I think, are 2 sides that will make the top 4 based on what I saw on the weekend. Kahibah especially, quality team in the under-15s. New Lambton did get the lead, and Hamish Meldrum gave them the lead, and then Kahibah cancelling it out through someone. I don't even remember who got their goal. You think I would, but I don't. It's a lot of goals to remember from across the weekend, and it doesn't always help. It was Sam Nolan, that's right. Real quickly, Sam Nolan, a player to watch in Kahibah 15s, a newcomer to the team. We'll move on to the under-17s game where Kahibah had a couple names out, so they only had 1 on the bench. New Lambton also had some out, admittedly, so nonetheless Kahibah got the job done in the end, 3-0. New Lambton, I don't know, it was the first time seeing them play, and it didn't really strike me as a side that, it's still pre-season, but some teams have looked really good, but they did have a couple of players out. I definitely know that they had probably 3 or 4 players out, so I'll wait to see them have their full complement. They got West Wallsend in round 1, so that'll be where they test themselves against probably the best 17s team in the competition this season. Kahibah 17s, I think, again with Westy, they'll go close to winning the title. And a new addition to the team, I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head, but you know I can't do that because it's a Tuesday afternoon and I don't really know. Kean Thomas was that player and grabbed 2 goals and just played really, really well. Joseph Haddon also scoring, again, not a striker, but a good goal nonetheless from the regular centre-back. Couple players out on the weekend, so a good win, 3-0, and they'll be happy with that. In the under-19s, New Lambton defeated by Kahibah 1-0. What am I going to say about this game? Kahibah winning through Harry Flick with a good old-fashioned Matt Moncrief-esque. Everyone stacks the goal line on the corner. Harry Flick's header goes in. Game's won. Everything's good for Kahibah there. Very, very good header from Harry Flick and some way to win the game. For New Lambton, I thought they were probably unlucky not to get a result out of this. I thought they deserved a draw at least. Defensively, they're very strong. Harry Callan and Jack Fisher, the centre-backs there. The full-backs, no idea off the top of my head. Still learning names at New Lambton. Maurice Bocelli, he's going to be a name to definitely remember. If you haven't seen the photo of his jacket, do go and look at the photo of his jacket because it was bloody awful. Cardigan, I guess, more so than a jacket. Jacket of the week is not going to be a weekly thing, but I'm thinking of getting like a photo of the week competition where people just, you know, comment or tag their photos or whatever, and that's a possibility for this season. Anyway, Tony Gascoigne's team, I reckon they'll be good. I'm excited to see how this side will go. They had a couple out on the weekend, and again they deserve probably to get a draw out of this. Adam Montefiore, another one, Danil Johannes. There's some good players in this team, and I think once it clicks, it'll click well. Kahibah picking up their first pre-season victory, and they will play Wallsend on Thursday night. In the under-23s, New Lambton beating Kahibah. Andre Gumprech played under-23s, which has not happened ever that I can remember. Not during the season, maybe pre-season games that I didn't really cover, but it was quite weird seeing Gumps playing 23s, but he was barking the orders, he was pushing, literally physically grabbing people and showing them where, you know, this is where you got to be, this is what you got to do. He's full on Gumpsy, and there's a few coaches like that now. It didn't really work for them, I thought, Kahibah 23s on Sunday. I'm trying to read my review and it's just this bloody long. I'll just talk about it off the top of my head. I thought they looked better going forward than they did against Cessnock in that second half the other night, but there's still got to be questions answered. Defensively, a little bit fragile. Gumprech went off about defence at half time in his talk before he joined the first grade squad. There's still some questions that need to be answered. They've definitely got potential to push for the top 4. I think not pushing for the top 4 would be an absolute disappointment for them, especially after missing it last year just by a little bit. So we'll see how they go. They're going to have some quality players that are going to miss out on first grade, and I think that's one of the main problems for Kahibah is juggling that. Great players there, there's a fair few of them. Some of them may have to play 23s, so could be interesting. Will be interesting. For New Lambton, it's the Bocelli show once again in this game. Scored an absolute bomb of a goal, and I was very happy to see it because he came off the bench for Steve Shute, who was man of the match the other night. Once Steve Shute went off, I thought these guys are in trouble, but Bocelli, a quality goal, and then he's going up against Andre Gumprech, and I think probably did a lot for his confidence. And Gumprech took a dive to earn a foul off of Bocelli, so I guess that says that he's doing a good job. Matt Parker, also for Kahibah, played a really good game and come on in first grade as well. Player to watch at Kahibah. I did see him at Southie last year, but that was more of a team effort at Southie. I didn't see them that often. I seen him play the other night, and very, very handy player. Nigel Robertson as well for New Lambton had a good game, but Maurice Bocelli definitely getting the man of the match just for that goal alone, winning the game in the end. First grade, New Lambton defeated by Kahibah. This was nothing short of highway robbery, really. If you read my match report on this, the game was supposed to end earlier, then it didn't end earlier, and then Andrew Packer got annoyed, but then it was all good. Look, at the end of the day, 45 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever you wanted from that time, New Lambton should not have lost this game based on the chances they had and based on the chances Kahibah didn't have. But the one that counted was Jamie Hadlow's, and it was a very good goal. But nonetheless, I thought New Lambton should have won this game. This was a big turnaround from that performance against Dudley that I watched a few weeks ago. I've got something flashing at me on the screen. I don't know if that's an SD card being full or whatever that is, but I'm going to check that and I'll be right back with you. Alright, we're back. That SD card was full, so we've just deleted some stuff off it and we're ready to go again. I was in the middle of talking about Kahibah's victory over New Lambton in first grade. I'm not going to read out all the match report. That's something that I'm getting sick of doing. I think this show just needs to be more me talking off of the top of my head rather than just reading out a report that you can easily just read yourself. For Kahibah, still work needs to be done. Again, I still say that it's been left pretty late compared to other clubs to start first grade pre-season, but that's because of Gumprech's holiday in Germany over the Christmas break and whatnot, so that does play a part. Nonetheless, Kahibah still probably aren't where they want to be or where they need to be. Structure is improving, and I think they'll, well, you know, I think most people believe they'll be certainly up there or thereabouts, but there's certainly other teams that look better at the moment, Cook's Hill being one of those. Another club, Singleton, who did lose on the weekend, we'll be talking about that soon, but they're also looking pretty decent. But Kahibah, you know, it's still fairly early days, and it is for Belswans as well. And it is for West Wallsend, for all those calling me biased, it is for West Wallsend as well. It's early days for everyone. But again, I'm not pulling excuses here. I'm straight up saying it that New Lambton FC were the better team against Kahibah and should have won the game. I don't care if it says 1-0 Kahibah to Hadlow. Felt like highway robbery at the end of the day. New Lambton the better team. Hodjo missing for Kahibah. Hadlow played well and got that goal at the end, but going forward they just weren't that threatening, and some good goalkeeping from Coxie kept them sort of in at Kahibah, and New Lambton look a good team. I was a little bit worried about that Dudley result, but again, it's pre-season and each week they get better and better. A lot of young players, a lot of potential, and Andrew Packer will have that team, I think, prepped for a big one in round 1 at Westy. We'll move on because that was just going on way too much, especially with that break. So we now move on to the final bit of this show. I don't know how long this has gone, but I've timed it. I've said, you know, talk about this for 2 minutes, talk about this for 3 minutes. That's what we've done. This one, I don't have a time limit. I'm just going to see how long it takes. This is Around the Grounds for NPL and New FM. We'll talk quickly. Adamstown defeated by the Jaffers. I don't know what the score was. I just know that Adamstown got 5 or so put past them. It's pre-season, but I guess that's good for the Jaffers. An interesting result I saw was Lake Macquarie City against Olympic. 0-0 in the 18s, 1-0 Lakes in the 20s, and 2-2 in first grade. Obviously Lakes coming from New FM, to do that against Hamilton Olympic, even if it's pre-season, that's a big plus. And I know there's a few former players not happy at Lakes about getting booted out of the 18s or the 20s or whatnot, but if the results are there, then you can't complain too much. But nonetheless, good for them, especially in first grade, to be drawing with Olympic. Especially after what they did to Valentine, that was quite a result. I think it was 6-1 or so. So Lakes, definitely, they've probably got a few other NPL clubs just looking at them and wondering what they're going to bring to the competition. It looks like they'll bring some sort of challenge. We'll move on to Sunday's games, where it was all New FM teams we're going to be talking about. Singleton versus Thornton. In the 15s, 1-0 to Singleton. I can't really comment. I haven't seen Thornton play in the 15s. I have seen Singleton. They weren't great in that match I watched, but winning this game and week by week, we'll see how they go. For the 17s, Singleton 1, defeated by Thornton 2. Don't know really what to make of this one without a team sheet or anything, but Singleton 17s, it seems to me that they've lost some quality from last year, and I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to push for finals on the back of that. There's some good players that have now gone up to 19, so that does make it difficult. For Thornton, their pre-season's sort of been up and down, but this was a good win for them, a confidence-building win. Jackson Watkins got the own goal. That was the only negative for them, I reckon, on the day. And again, Thornton Redbacks looking to just add 1 or 2 names to 15s, 17s and 19s, so anyone interested, contact Daryl McAllister. His details are on one of my latest posts on the Facebook page. For the under-19s, Singleton defeated by Thornton 1-0. Singleton 19s, even last year, was just a team that I wanted to see do better, and they didn't last year, and now they got some really good players in. It's a decent team on paper, but beaten by Thornton, who I haven't really been too sold on during pre-season. I think they've just started a little bit slower than some of the other 19s teams. I'm looking at Westy and the likes. This is a good win for Thornton. Josh Davies getting a penalty. And again, I'm probably being too harsh in pre-season, but it's a Tuesday afternoon. The season's 2.5 weeks away, so I think I'm being a little bit fair, just saying really, I just want to be clear about what I say. I'm not reading off a script, I'm just saying what I think at the moment. For Thornton, they will be adding 1 or 2 players possibly to the squad. Blake McDonald playing with a toe injury in goals. It's not a great situation to be in, but he apparently got through it from what I've heard. And the defenders there are all sort of new-ish. I don't know the team sheet. I know that there's a few 17s players filling in for the 19s. So yeah, Thornton, well, throughout pre-season I've seen them twice, and I was thinking they may struggle a little bit in the lower grades with numbers and whatnot, but if they can add 1 or 2 more and produce results like this, then I will shut up and see those results come to fruition. In the under-23s, I'm talking complete BS now. This video just needs to end, doesn't it? Under-23s, Singleton 0, defeated by Thornton Redbacks 2. After losing heavily midweek to Belswans, Singleton were once again beaten. Josh Coleman, Josh Davies with the goals. All good. First grade, Singleton 0 defeated by Thornton Redbacks 2, sounding like a repeating record now, aren't I? I got sent the scores, and this one really surprised me because I thought Singleton had been a real dark horse of pre-season, and I know that it's pre-season, you don't need to tell me 100 times, but teams that look good in pre-season generally do look alright in the actual season. Thornton beating Singleton, I think that's it. That's a big plus for Thornton. Josh Benaquista and Jacob Bartlett getting the goals. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be talking about Jacob Bartlett a lot this year. I think this could be a real big year for him. Young player in the Redbacks first grade setup. We'll go talk about Maitland versus Belmont Swansea. It wasn't great for Belswans. 7-1 in the under-23s and 8-1, although I've heard 9-1, although other people have said 12-1 or 13-1. They got one, but they got a lot put past them, and at the end of the day, they didn't have a full complement of players, and they rightfully didn't get a result because of that. Only 1-0 down at the break in first grade. That tells you the story. This Belswans side this year will be quality, but if they've only got 11 players against Maitland FC, then they're just going to get absolutely ran over the top of in the second half. That's what happened, and it does make it difficult. Josh Rufo had to play 23s, and I guess it would be a headache for Rufo to have several players not there for a trial that's their penultimate trial before the start of the season. So we'll see how they go. They're playing Dudley this Thursday night. Quite frankly, I think they'll lose that because Dudley are a side that have it going on. They know what they're doing. They're a very solid outfit, and they will beat most New FM teams, as well as the next team we're going to talk about, the Newcastle Suns. They just, well, I'm not going to say they demolished South Cardiff, but they did beat them fair and square. South Cardiff 1 defeated Newcastle Suns third grade 0 with a late goal. Southie got a late goal in the 23s to draw with the Suns reserve grade. But first grade is where the interest is. South Cardiff 1 defeated by the Newcastle Suns 5. That right there tells you that if it was all about first grade, Newcastle Suns would be playing UFM football because they are a very, very solid outfit. The Palotzis, Madge, just quality all over the park. The Suns, good team to watch, but they won't be in UFM because they don't. That's just their first grade. They don't have the junior setup that is needed. They don't have the ground that's needed. All that sort of stuff, but if it was based on first grade alone, they would be there, and so would Dudley. The Suns just too good for South Cardiff in the end, running away with it in the second half. Southie, I can't really comment on, honestly. They beat Belswans a few weeks ago. That was a good win, but this was not a good loss. So I don't really know who's there. I know about 3 players that are playing first grade there. That's about it. So Denis Vajkovic he has kept his cards close to his chest. They haven't noticized. That's not a word. They haven't been talking about their team on Facebook like some clubs. Belswans with any new signings Belswans have, they've announced it. Some clubs have posted their actual lineups. South Cardiff, I'm going to see them play this weekend, so I will be able to judge for myself. And they will be in action on Newysports in round 1 against Wallsend in the Gallagher Shield. So a big start to the season for Southie, and we'll be out there next Sunday. Hopefully catch up with a few players. I'm not sure if any of the coaches are going to be keen to do interviews. That's up to them. I'm not going to force it. Definitely a few players that I would like to chat with. Maybe a couple from the 19s, maybe a couple from 23s. We'll see what happens when we get out there. That's on Sunday. Also, On the weekend, Charlestown City played against Killarney Vale, and they won 4-1 in first grade, 1-1 draw in the 20s, and 2-0 win in the 18s. A good hit out for Charlestown against the Central Coast-based team. That is the end of what I have written down to talk about, and I don't really have a voice left after that one. My throat is not great. So I'll go through what we got this week, and it will be posted on a graphic or something. I'll keep you updated. Pretty active on Facebook lately. There's just been so much content this year, and it's good to get a little bit of positive feedback for all the interviews and that. I think it does add to the competition as a whole to sort of get to know some players, especially Cooks Hill the other day. A lot of new players there, so it was good to get to know who some of them are, what they're about. And even with Cessnock on Friday. Toronto, I'm hopefully going to catch up with some players on Saturday. I'm not sure if any of the coaches will do interviews. That's, again, it's completely optional. I'm not going to force anybody to do interviews. Most of the coaches have been happy to do it, so we'll see what happens. There is a rumoured player signing there at Toronto that might be an interesting interview. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to say who that is. We'll see if he does sign up. And so tomorrow, it's Tuesday today. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we will be going to watch someone play someone. Belswans versus Adamstown Rosebud, that's what it is, in the 17s and 19s at Blacksmiths. Thursday night, we will be at two venues. We'll be at Harold Knight Oval, the best field on the face of the earth, out there at Gateshead, for the 19s game against Kahibah 19s, that is, against Wallsend. The 15s will be playing on the upper field there for those interested, but I'll be there for the 19s game. I might send someone up there with the camera to do the 15s. We'll see what happens, and we'll be heading straight from there. That game's at 6 or something like that. We'll be heading straight from there to Dudley to watch Belswans first grade play. That's the game I'm keen to see this week. Dudley v Belswans at Dudley under lights on Thursday night. Do get out to that one. Friday night, Kahibah back in action at Gateshead against Carnwall. I think I'm saying that right. They're from the Central Coast. And then Saturday we'll be at Westlake's RAF Mines for Westlake's Wildcats versus Toronto Awaba in the Shield game. I forget the name, the Benguin Shield, I believe it is. I'll be doing a write up on that anyway. We'll be treating that game with a bit more respect, actually remembering what it's called. Played every year and for a good cause as well. Toronto were going to move that game to Sunday, but it's not, and it's good because I can't make it on Sunday. I can make it on Saturday. 12 o'clock for 19s, 2 o'clock for 23s, and 4 o'clock for first grade. Going to be very interesting to see Toronto's first grade play against Westlakes, and hopefully I'll have some interviews with Westlakes as well. I was talking to someone from out there last night, maybe a player or two. And then Sunday, last but not least, Sunday is a big day. South Cardiff versus Thornton. Going to be catching up with South Cardiff. And then, of course, the F3 Derby, the biggest game. And I'll be talking about this later in the week because it's must win for the Jets. I think it's a big F3 Derby in several years. So that's all on Sunday. It's a massive week coming up. I'm going to go try and get my voice back, and I will see you in the next episode of Newysports TV, which will be episode number 15. We'll be catching up with Toronto Awaba, and then episode 16, we'll be catching up with South Cardiff, and then in episode 17, I'll be back here next week trying to just collect my thoughts and think about how much we've done. I'm Ty Stedman. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you in the next episode.